You're addicted to hate. And this is going to be a message that you've probably heard before, but maybe told through like a different perspective or a different lens. And the reason I say you're addicted to hate is because that's how the internet is run now. Most of the internet, if you could even say most of society at this point, is just strictly run off of rage baiting, strictly run off of hatred, what pisses you off the most. Because what pisses you off or makes you angry or invokes some sort of negative reaction gets the most attention, gets the most clicks, gets whatever. You can start a career either grifting or just saying opinions that you probably don't even fully agree with or fully understand, or speak from a completely uneducated opinion and sound like an expert on something and make millions off of that nowadays if you navigate it correctly or get the right clicks that you want from it. There are people out there that are just either using AI to spew the most outrageous opinions or just thinking off the top of their head the most outrageous opinions that they personally don't agree with, but they do realize that it is going to get a lot of clicks, it is going to get a lot of attention, and it is going to get a lot of money. And maybe to them, that's the social gratification that they've been looking for, or the social approval, at least numbers wise, as opposed to reading the comments and getting the opinions of people that are actually affected by said things. But it's like a never ending cycle because they see that it gets results. Therefore, they continue to feed the beast. And it's sad that society is kind of run this way now. The internet was like a wild west of discovery and people connecting and creating communities. And although that is still there and there are elements of it, there is now just even though it's in the minority, a much louder crowd, which is striving to get you angry and striving to get you to click on stuff as much as possible. Therefore, I say you're addicted to hatred and addicted to anger because it's hard to click off. I'm not exempting myself from this either, but it's one of those things where it is so hard to pull your eyes away from the active car crash that is the internet. And especially if the car keeps on crashing and then elevating to a bus crashing and then a plane crashing, it's hard to rip your attention away from that when things are constantly escalating and getting worse and worse. Now, in some ways, this is the best time to live in. Honestly, racism is not as horrible as it used to be. We have medical technology that is saving lives that would have gotten people, that like diseases would have gotten people killed hundreds of years ago that are now solved. There are a lot of things that make living today absolutely fantastic. And there are always going to be problems no matter what time period you're in, hands down. Even 100 years in the future right now, there are going to be issues that we probably don't even think about that are going to be huge later down the line. But life is usually just about, what problems are you going to deal with, not whether or not you're avoiding your problems. But right now, the current problem is the fact that everyone's always so angry, always so pissed off, and continuously getting that anger fed to them, and are probably in communities that are echo chambers spewing justification for that anger, or at least to egg on people even more. And it is getting harder and harder, especially for apps like Twitter. I'm not calling it X, but especially the apps like Twitter or all sorts of social media, even TikTok in parts, or Instagram, how things are navigated or how much misinformation is constantly spreading continues to feed that flame within everybody. And because anything that you can think of probably has a community behind it, you can actively search for justification on just about anything you're thinking, which could eventually just convince you that that is your truth or that is the official opinion of something. That paired with everybody trying to simplify everything on the internet really, really makes a case for the lack of media literacy and really dumbs down a lot of people. And we don't even have to get into the side of AI. But let's take, for example, the internet is now run by rage bait, right? We'll use me liking pancakes. The truth is I like waffles more. But let's say I say out loud, I love waffles, right? Because the internet is always simplistic, or people like to simplify everything and run off of rage baiting, because I love waffles, people are going to assume that I fucking despise pancakes and French toast and try to make a fit off of that, whether or not that's like bots trying to, rile up or farm some sort of rage bait interaction, or it is genuine people at this point because it happens so often. People will take the opinion of me loving waffles and say that I fucking hate pancakes and that I'm like a piece of shit for not liking pancakes. But the truth is, I fucking love pancakes. If I had both of them in front of me though, I would probably choose the waffles, but if the pancakes were in front of me as well, I would be just as elated. But the thing is, social media does not run that way. It farms the rage and it farms the simplicity, and therefore makes it extremely addicting to pull your phone away from your face, because constantly that stuff is happening in front of you, but to way, way bigger scales and constantly elevating. Go on your social medias as of right now and just take a look at how everything is titled, how everything is oriented, how everything is properly arranged to fit a specific narrative, right? And doesn't necessarily tell the truth of what people are trying to say or people are feeling. Now, this ties into how social media is run anyways, because attention is the currency for social media. And obviously you want to be able to orient your videos to what seems the most attractive to people that want to click onto your channel, let's say for YouTube, for example. But I think that's part of the double-edged sword, where it's just like, yeah, you want to be able to make a title and a thumbnail that's attractive for viewers, but what's the most attractive thing that would get clicks? Like rage bait or horrible titling. Sometimes even clickbait. You know, your thumbnail and title doesn't even have to really match up with the video in the first place. But if it is managing to get the clicks and you manage to hook the people with horrible things or incorrect things, that manages to make people stick around, even if they hate the channel or hate the person behind it or hate the message that's being said, it keeps them hooked. It keeps them addicted. This isn't meant to be some sort of doom and gloom thing, but I think it is kind of like a harsher look at the reality of our situation and how the internet's oriented. And although the internet is a great communication device in order to bring attention to the current injustices happening within our society, it is unfortunately also used for the bad as well. It's unfortunate, and I hope that things end up changing, but I'm curious on to what your ideals might be in terms of how we could change it, or ideas overall, sorry, in terms of how we can change it. But that's mainly my thoughts. Leave.